I refused to allow my neighbor to build a gate through our shared fence for shortcut access. She didn't respond until one morning I found a hole cut into it, and her granddaughter playing with my dog. I asked her why she went behind my back, and she said, "We've already claimed this space." But when I followed the dog's tracks that night, they led me to a shallow pit behind her shed containing. I'm a 52-year-old retired mechanic. Moved to a quiet town in northern Georgia after my divorce to finally get some peace. Bought a house with a decent-sized backyard, fenced all the way around. It wasn't fancy, but it was mine. My only regular company is my dog, Hank. He's a big, black and brown lab mix. Smart, loyal, and protective. I've had him since he was a pup. Everything was fine for the first couple of years. Then Denise moved in next door. Mid-50s, dyed red hair, always wearing flip-flops no matter the weather. She seemed nice at first. I helped her move a few boxes when she first showed up. But she wasn't the friendly type for long. Always had something to say about people's lawns, who was too loud, and who parked too close to her driveway. You get the idea? One afternoon, she came over with one of those too sweet fake smiles and a store-bought pie in hand. Told me her daughter and granddaughter were coming to stay with her for a few months while they got back on their feet. Then she asked me if she could cut a small gate into the wooden fence that separates our yards. Said it would save her granddaughter time walking to the park behind our street. Said they'd just go through my backyard and use my back gate. I told her no. Not in a rude way, just straight. I said I didn't want people going in and out of my yard. Hank's not aggressive, but he's protective. And I don't like the idea of a kid being near him unsupervised. It just wasn't something I was okay with. I made that clear. She didn't argue much then. Just gave me that tight-lipped smile and walked off. After that, she stopped waving when we saw each other outside. Her daughter, girl in her early 30s, always on her phone, started giving me these glares. I figured they were pissed, but I honestly didn't care. My yard is my yard. Then, one morning, I let Hank out like usual and stepped outside with my coffee. And I saw it. A perfectly cut square in the fence. About 2 feet by 2 feet, down near the bottom corner. Not jagged or broken. Clean cuts, like someone used a saw and measured it. On my side of the yard, a little girl, Denise's granddaughter, was tossing a tennis ball with Hank, giggling like it was the most normal thing in the world. I walked over, told her kindly to go back through to her yard, and she did. Hank didn't even seem to realize anything was wrong. I was fuming. I walked around to Denise's front door and knocked. When she answered, I asked her directly why she cut a hole in my fence after I already told her no. She looked me in the eye and said, "We've already claimed this space. My granddaughter and your dog are bonded. You can't undo that." I just stood there. I was stunned. I told her again, firmly, to fix the fence. She shrugged and said, "If it's such a big deal to you, patch it yourself." So I did. That same night. I got a thick piece of plywood, screwed it in place, and made sure it couldn't be pushed through. I also installed a motion sensor light near that part of the yard. I didn't want to make this bigger than it was, but I knew this wasn't over. That night, I stayed out on my porch longer than usual. Hank was with me, lying at my feet, but he kept glancing toward the fence. Around 2 a.m., he perked up and started growling low. Ears up, tail stiff. Then he ran to the back fence. I grabbed my flashlight and followed him. He sniffed around the corner where the hole had been. His nose hit the ground, and he took off around the side yard. I kept up as best I could. He led me around Denise's place and stopped behind her shed. The flashlight beam hit a patch of turned-up dirt. A shallow pit, maybe 2 feet wide. Covered with some leaves, bits of chicken wire, and plastic. Something caught the light, metal. I reached down and pulled out a dirty dog collar. Not Hank's. It was pink. Had little rhinestones on it. It was Daisy's. Daisy was Denise's beagle. She used to yap all night and bark at squirrels. Then one day last year, Denise told everyone Daisy had run off. I even helped her put up "Lost Dog" signs at the gas station and library. But now here was Daisy's collar, buried behind the shed, along with some bones. Not fully decomposed. And next to it? A length of rope. Frayed and knotted. I stepped back. My stomach turned. I felt cold all over. I didn't say anything to her. Not that night. Not the next day. I called Animal Control anonymously and reported it. Told them what I found and gave them pictures. Then I went to the store and bought 3 trail cameras. Mounted them on trees, all pointing at different parts of the fence line. One facing the patched hole. Another watching my back gate. The third pointed at the far side of the yard. For a few nights, nothing happened. Then, on the 4th night, I caught something. The footage showed Denise's daughter crawling through the patched hole. She must have unscrewed it quietly. She was holding something in her hand. A chunk of raw meat. She squatted, held it out, and whispered. Hank walked toward her. Slowly. Cautious, but curious. She pulled a leash from her pocket. That's where the video ended. The next clip picked up a few minutes later. Hank was back in the yard. The woman was gone. I watched the clip over and over. Something wasn't right. I downloaded the videos to a thumb drive and went to the police. That's when everything started to blow up. I thought showing the cops the video would light a fire under them. It didn't. The officer at the desk was polite but bored. Took my statement, copied the footage, said someone from Animal Control would follow up. I tried to explain the context. Daisy's grave behind the shed, the trespassing, the meat, the leash, but he just nodded like I was wasting his time. No one came by for a week. Meanwhile, Hank changed. He wouldn't eat much. He barely played. He stopped sleeping at the foot of my bed and instead curled up in the laundry room. He flinched when I touched his collar. Something was wrong. I took him to the vet. Nothing physical showed up. The vet asked if he'd been around strangers or if anyone had tried to feed him anything unusual. I told him what I saw on the video. The vet nodded slowly and said, "If she's been feeding him, she could be drugging him. It's happened before." I felt sick. That night, I didn't let Hank outside alone. I stayed up with a thermos of coffee, my porch light off, waiting near the back fence with my camera and a baseball bat. Around 1:30 a.m., I heard rustling. Then the soft click of metal. The plywood piece came loose, she'd unscrewed it again. This time, it wasn't the daughter. It was Denise. She was in a housecoat and slippers, holding a bowl. Hank saw her from inside and started whining, tail between his legs. She squatted by the hole and whispered his name. "Come here, sweet boy." That's it. I stepped out of the shadows and said loud, "What the hell do you think you're doing?" She jumped like she'd been electrocuted. Dropped the bowl, it clattered and rolled. A piece of raw meat slid across the grass. She didn't say anything. Just stared at me, wide-eyed. I took a picture of her crouched by the hole, bowl beside her. "You touched my dog again," I said, "and I swear to God I'll make sure you regret it." She stood up slowly. Then, calm as anything, she said, "He comes to me because he wants to. You're just jealous he picked us." And then she smiled, this smug, twisted little smile, and walked away. I sent the new photos and the timeline to Animal Control, the police, and the local shelter. Still, no one did a damn thing. The hole in the system was just as wide as the one in my fence. So I made my own plan. I bought a GPS tracker for Hank's collar. Set up a RAL security system with alerts straight to my phone. And I ordered a hidden camera disguised as a rock and put it inside the yard near where Hank slept. I also called a friend, Tom, who used to work in private security. Told him the whole story. He came down the next weekend with gear, set up more cameras. One high enough to see into Denise's backyard. Another wired to my porch. Then, the worst happened. Hank disappeared. It was the following Tuesday. I let him out at 10:15 p.m. Like usual. Checked the tracker at 10:30. He was still in the yard. By 10:47, the tracker said he was offline. I ran outside. The plywood had been ripped clean off. Hank was gone. I called the cops again. Filed a report. Showed them everything. They said they'd check in. But we both knew how that would go. That's when Tom and I went into full mode. We reviewed the footage from the porch camera. At 10:43 p.m., someone in a hoodie reached over the fence with a pole. One of those catch poles they use at shelters. Looped it around Hank's neck. Yanked hard. Hank struggled. Kicked. Was dragged through. We couldn't see a face. But we saw the direction. Straight into Denise's backyard. The last frame before the camera angle cutoff showed the shed door swinging open. I grabbed my bat. Tom grabbed his taser. We walked over in the dark. Denise's house was quiet. No lights on. But there was a light coming from the shed. We crept around the side, keeping to the trees. The shed window was cracked open. Inside, we heard voices. A girl's voice, Denise's granddaughter. He's still shaking. I think we gave him too much. Then the daughter. He'll be fine. Once he calms down, we'll post the pics. That guy's gonna pay us big for this one. Denise. Nobody's paying anything until we move him. Shut up and help me get him in the crate. That's when it hit me. They were trying to sell Hank. Or ransom him. I couldn't wait. I rushed the shed door and kicked it open so hard it bounced off the wall. They screamed. Hank was in the corner, inside a wire crate, muzzle strapped on, shaking like a leaf. Tom came in right behind me, taser out, and pointed it at Denise's daughter. I said one thing. Call the police. Now. She hesitated. Tom said, next person who moves gets dropped. She called. And that's when everything started falling apart, for them. The cops showed up 20 minutes later. Denise tried to play it cool at first, claimed it was all a misunderstanding. Said Hank had wandered into their yard, and they were just keeping him safe. But it all came crashing down fast. Tom handed over the footage from our cameras. Every second of it. The pull. The dragging. The voices in the shed. Even the granddaughter saying they gave him too much. The police didn't even ask questions after that. They cuffed all three of them right there. Denise, her daughter, and the granddaughter was taken in by child services later that night. But it wasn't over. The vet ran blood work on Hank. Turned out they'd given him sedatives, strong ones. Enough to knock him out completely if he hadn't been so big. That saved him. Animal control finally showed up for real. After I told them about the shallow pit with the bones behind the shed, they brought cadaver dogs. They found more than just Daisy. They found 4 other dogs buried in different parts of Denise's backyard. Turns out Denise had a long history in other towns. Multiple lost dogs. Even some abuse complaints that were never followed through. She'd moved from county to county, always staying one step ahead of getting charged. Until now. The DA went hard on it. Between the animal cruelty charges, the attempted theft, trespassing, and endangering a child, she was screwed. Her daughter, too. They tried to claim it was just about wanting the girl to have a dog. That they didn't mean harm. But the videos said otherwise. So did the bones. During the trial, the granddaughter testified. She said Denise told her, "That dog's ours now. Don't worry about the old man." She said they'd done this before, taken dogs, claimed them, even tried to sell one through Facebook before. It was sick. Denise was sentenced to 6 years. Her daughter got 2 in probation. The granddaughter was put in foster care after being ruled unsafe in both women's custody. And me? I wasn't done. I sued them. Civil court. Trespassing. Emotional distress. Vet bills. Security costs. Property damage. I won. Not a huge payout, but enough to sting them for life. Every check I got from that settlement, I donated to the local animal shelter, with Hank sitting next to me. I also made sure the footage went viral. Tom posted it online with timestamps and everything. It spread fast. Neighbor steals dog through fence hole, gets busted on hidden cam. Hundreds of thousands of views. Their names got dragged everywhere. There wasn't a person in town who didn't know what they did. Their house? Foreclosed while they were in jail. Got auctioned off last month. The new owners asked if I'd mind if they tore the whole fence down and rebuilt it from scratch. I told them go ahead. But this time, we built it 6 feet taller. Steel frame. And no gates. Not ever again. As for Hank, he's doing great. Took him months to fully trust people again, but he's back to sleeping by my bed, wagging his tail at strangers, and barking at the mail truck like nothing ever happened. He's older now, a little grayer around the face, but still sharp. I walk him to the park every day, past the spot where Denise once said, "We've already claimed this space." No, lady. You didn't. This space, my yard, my home, my dog, was never yours. And now you've lost everything.